Hey, people, it's Joe from the New News. It's been a minute. I've been in Facebook jail for a month, and but I'm back. I'm free. The Zuckster overseers saw their way fit to release me back into the general populace, and I'm coming at you tonight from the Cincinnati office where it's 86 degrees outside and I am inside in a nicely air-conditioned joint. I don't know, when I went in we had just about 8,000 followers, and now I checked the numbers just a minute ago and we got about 9,300 here on the New News. So, you know, I'm not complaining. Thank you all very, very much for supporting the New News, for liking what we do, for participating, because I still firmly believe that we're all in this together, and the way that we're going to move forward is by linking arms and wrestling this fascist nightmare to the ground. Because here's the deal. Like, I got a Twitter account as well. Some of you guys know. I don't know if you follow me there, but it's the Joe Riddle on Twitter. So check that out sometime. And Geraldo Rivera is not somebody that I follow, but something came up today, and I can't remember if I posted it to the New News or not, but he's making a comment that now any public place where people assemble should have armed personnel at the ready after the most recent mass shootings that we've suffered. And my comment to him, and I will stand by this, is that to shut the fuck up. That's like one of the dumbest damn things I've ever heard in my life. Stationing armed guards at every church and school and movie theater and club and outdoor concert, that is exactly the path toward full-blown fascism, which is exactly what the Republicans want. And I would warn against it in the strongest possible manner. Here's the thing. Like, I did a couple pre-recorded videos over the past month. I'm still learning all this technology. Like, I could build you a house from the ground up, but like learning to navigate all of this point and click stuff isn't as easy for me as it is for other people. So I'm doing what I can, and I uploaded just a few videos while I was in Facebook prison, and I think the last one was on Thursday after the Cincinnati protest that I attended on the 1st of August, because the Cheatolini himself came to my hometown to spew his hate. And I got to watch 17,000 people file by me, headed for that big hate rally down at US Bank Arena in downtown Cincinnati. And and one of the little Trump pansies addressed me personally, and if you go back and watch the video from a couple days ago, I explain it better. But like, that guy that you guys have seen on the news, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he turned the corner after yelling at me and then decked a 61-year-old guy who was also protesting right around the corner about 100 yards from where I was standing. These people are cowards, and they are angry and have no mechanism for dealing with their anger other than to lash out with violence. And here's the problem, is that the guy masquerading as president of the United States encourages that lashing out with violence. There's a video circulating you guys have probably seen today, and I can't remember what it's from, but I believe it was one of his hate rallies in Florida, maybe a month back or so, where the Donald, the dickhead, talks specifically about how he mentions that the Army can't do what he'd like them to do, and then somebody in his crowd of Trump pansies shouts out that we should shoot immigrants, and in this video he pauses and he kind of chuckles and does that same fucking smirk that you've seen on every goddamn one of these right-wing nut job people, from the Covington Catholic kid to the Martin Scarellis to the Steve Bannons of the world. It's this universal kind of I'm gonna get away with this type of look on their face. Trump has that look on his face when one of his cult followers says that we should shoot immigrants. And then he goes on to say that, oh, no. You can only get away with that in the panhandle of Texas. And then what do you know? On Saturday, the 249th mass shooting of this year was in El Paso by a Trumpster, a Trumpanzee, that wrote a 4-page manifesto that I would encourage you all to read to get kind of into the head of these idiots. Not that you need a whole lot of explanation to know where they're coming from. They're just like racist assholes that have no other mechanisms for dealing with the world other than hate and violence. And so yeah, I would encourage you to read the manifesto, simply so we know who our enemies are. I mean, I don't know another way to put that. This is not a war that we've sought. This is a war that has been delivered to our doorstep, and the reality is that we can't back down from it, because 14 hours after El Paso was Dayton, and that's 45 minutes from my front doorstep. In the Oregon District, which is a place that I used to hang out at once in a while when I was in my 20s. It's a very small community, cobblestone, brick streets, cute, quaint, local, fun, loving, and some idiot with a gun decided to waltz in there and kill not only his sister, that just came out in the news recently, that his sister is one of the people that he murdered, but 8 other people besides her. And then he was shot by the cops. So 10 dead total there in Dayton, 20 dead total in El Paso, 26 injured in El Paso, still in hospital, 27 injured in Dayton. And between the protests that I attended on Thursday and all of that crap happening yesterday, on Saturday there was this day called Friday that was in there where, it just kind of came and went, except that something that you didn't hear about is the fact that in Prophet, Maryland, a guy shot and killed his in-laws and wounded an 11-year-old. So there were 4 people that died there, including the shooter himself when he committed suicide at the end of it. And all of this is on the heels of the 28th of July, the Gilroy Garlic Festival in California, where 4 people were murdered and 12 were injured. And the 4th of August, 2019, is the 216th day of this year. And what happened in Dayton last night was the 250th mass shooting of this year. And before I go any further, here's a couple other things that you didn't hear about. Was on the 30th of July in Elkhart, Indiana, where 2 people plus the shooter were killed. And on the same day, on July 30th, in Rosenberg, Texas, 2 people plus the shooter were killed. Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, on the 28th of July, 4 people plus the shooter were killed. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on the 28th of July, 1 person was killed. That's just this past week. That's 1 week in America. I've used up the bulk of my time on this video just telling you guys about the number of people who have died, who have been brutally murdered at the end of the point of a gun. And most of the time, the person on the other side of that gun is some radical, right-wing, whack job Trumpanzee with nothing better to do than to go murder folks. And that's all endorsed by our president, who's squatting in the White House, encouraging this violence, encouraging people to go out and take things into their own hands. And and those are just the shootings that happened where people died. There was also on the 30th of July in Columbus, Ohio, nobody died, but there was a shooting incident there. And in Haskell, Oklahoma, there was a shooting incident there. And last night in Chicago, Illinois, 7 people were injured in a park. At this moment, no one has died, but it ain't over yet. That could change any minute. We have a fucking gun problem in this country. And old Mitch McConnell, old Moscow Mitch, is faking shoulder injury. Maybe he's not faking it. You know what? Maybe the old fucking cracker-headed turtle did really fall down and hurt his shoulder. And if he did, you know what? I'm sorry that happened. I don't wish physical violence on anybody. I think it's karmically funny as hell that that happened to Mitch McConnell. But I think, frankly, he's fucking faking it. And I'll tell you why. Because my senator, Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio, demanded that McConnell reconvene the Senate to vote on the background check bill that the U.S. House has already passed. And then suddenly old Mitch, old Moscow Mitch, has come up with some little big boo-boo on his shoulder. It's going to put him down for a couple days. Going to take him out of the count. Meanwhile, you got Cheatolini demanding that all the flags go to half-staff. And I just can't help but wonder, are those flags going to half-staff actually in honor of the civilian people that were murdered? Or are those flags going to half-staff to honor the fucking white supremacist shooters that you, with your big fucking hate rallies, have been endorsing and inspiring since the moment you came down that goddamn golden escalator? The commonality in all of these shootings is the guns. But we do have a Second Amendment in this country, and we're not going to confiscate everybody's guns. I think there should be some strict fucking limitations on what you're allowed to own, and nobody, I mean nobody, needs to own an assault weapon. And don't come at me with fucking nomenclature and all your gun wacko nonsense. Nobody needs to have access to a weapon where they can mow down 9 people. In Dayton, 9 people died. The police showed up and shot the shooter within a minute. Within 1 minute, 9 people were dead. No civilian person needs access to that kind of firepower. Period. It's a judgment call. I'm making it. I hope you make the same damn call. There's no reason. You don't hunt with that kind of weapon. It serves one purpose. Its one purpose is to mow down a lot of people really fucking quickly. And quite obviously, since we're not using those tools to take out this fascist government, this coup that the Republicans have staged against this country, there's no place for that weapon. That's my take on it. The only way this is going to get better is when we mobilize and when we act together. There is a Facebook page. It's been set up. It's called Labor of Love Protests. I was invited to it this evening. A friend of mine, Sandy, who is also active on Twitter, constantly hitting up old Cheatolini the same way that I do and calling him out on all his bullshit. She invited me. I'm not sure if you need to be invited or if you can search it. If you can search it, it's called Labor of Love Protests. It's a Facebook page, and it's designed that we're going to stage protests all across the country on Labor Day this year. Actually, the Sunday before Labor Day, the 1st of September, as I understand it. There's more details on that page. Please go to that page and check it out. And that's all I got for this evening, folks. Facebook jail will change a person moderately. I'm not backing down on what I say. I'm not backing down on what I do. I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to get more involved, to be more active, because activists is what's going to fix the problem that we're facing in this country. So please get active. It's also Obama's birthday, so happy birthday, Barrio. And the McConnell shoulder fracture. I mean, there's part of me that's hoping it's actually real. But nah, I'm not going to hope that, because I'm not going to hope pain and suffering on anybody, even if they deserve it. If you guys can make a contribution to help me out keeping the new news going, this is the mailing address to do it. There's also PayPal information at the top of the page. And I got more direct actions that I'll be posting pictures about sometime soon. So keep tuned in for that. Resist, persist, and insist that we bring an end to the madness that we find ourselves faced with at the moment. Thank you guys all for all the shout outs. I couldn't answer any of them while I was in Facebook jail, but I appreciate everybody that supports the page. Please support the new news and check out the Labor of Love protests. That's going to be a big action that we're going to need to all be involved in. All right, I'll talk to people soon. Peace.